A Richard Fahey trained winner is the 2-1 favourite. Master Bond is 4-1 from fives. JB Blue is 7-1. 10-1 Border Rivia. Al Doha is 14-1, as is Elastina. Time to Excel is 16-1, and it is 20-1 and upwards the rest.
Deep Sand then the 2-1 favourite to bid to fulfil the promise that this horse showed on his debut at Thirsk. Looked green on that occasion, but got the penny late on and definitely showed ability. Paul, you were quite taken by his effort.
I was, because he was clueless early on, and the penny dropped late on, and he stayed on under tender handling, but really learnt an awful lot that day. And in these conditions, experience will count for a bundle. And in what looks, on actually looking at them, I had a real good look at these, and the market's got this spot on. I mean, the three standouts are the newcomer JB Blue of Tom Dascombe's Deep Sand, and the horse of Brian Smart's, who was Master Bond, who was actually backed quite heavily first time out, but we haven't seen him since May, so there's obviously a blip there. He missed the kick that day at Beverley, and I think we might just see a better performance from him, but he looks really a typical sprinting type. But they stood out a mile. There are a lot of green horses here, a lot of backward horses here. As you can see there, he covers a bit of ground, this favourite Deep Sand, and I think his experience, as I said before, will just stand him in really good stead. And I think he'll handle the ground. So, you know, you've got the two positives that you need.
Let's just go down one or two of these then. You mentioned Deep Sand, you mentioned Brian Smart's Master Bond coming back after 117 days off, but as Paul mentioned, was well backed on his debut. And JB Blue is from the Tom Dascombe yard. I liked him. He's well related, Paul.
Yeah, he is. He's got a good pedigree to match. He was a 52,000 guinea purchase as a yearling. He's a full brother to the multiple 6 furlong winner, Mar Bate. It's a great pedigree, and a half-brother to Gypsy Carnival, so you've got two really good types in the pedigree, and he just ticked the boxes on looks.
Looked to have a lovely temperament too. He was walking on like an old sheep.
I know they tend to, these Kalakis. They're very laid-back individuals, and sometimes first time out, that actually, you know, if you really want to get them rolling, it just sort of, it takes a while for the penny to drop with them, but to have that temperament is always a bonus. You don't want something that's flighty. I mean, we saw beforehand a Majestic Bounty was getting really on edge and wound up, and you know, it's almost,
she looked very nervy, didn't she?
It's almost too much for her in the prelims, but she's got down to post, and hopefully this experience will teach them a lot. You know, the mental side of this game is so important for these 2-year-olds. If they get a good experience first time out, they tend to build on it. If it's a bad experience, or if you have problems in the stalls, they don't forget these things.
Let's just go down a few of these, Paul, because they'll be going round to load in a moment. Richard Fahey, doubly represented here, Border Rivia and Elastina, two newcomers. What did you feel that they look like in the paddock? Again,
a little bit backward. I think they'll come on for this run, but Border Rivia first is a half-brother to Callaloo, who was a mile winner at 2. The dam was placed over 6 furlongs at 2. So you've got winning form with a half-brother at 2, and the dam was speedy enough to be placed, but I don't think today is going to be the day.
And Elastina? Similar profile, looked in a little bit backward, and the run would bring her on a lot. Ferdy represents Paul Green, was very green at Chester first time out. I would imagine will be a little bit more professional this evening, will need to be. Holy Angel is another one from the Tim Easterby yard, second string if you like, 20-1 behind the 15-8 stablemate. Yeah, by a stallion that's doing really well, Dark Angel, a half sister to 2 3-year-old winners, but the dam was useful at 2, already gelded, so might have been a little bit cheeky back home, and generally when they have their tackle removed, there's a good reason for it. In Your House sets some sort of standard here, in as much as that this horse has had 4 or 5 runs. He's rated 57, so that's a fairly poor rating. Visor first time tonight. Points at issue was very green at Catterick first time. Time to Excel, 2 runs so far unplaced at Haydock and Thirsk. What are you expecting, Paul? Well, I think the market's got it right. I think Deep Sand will probably win it, and I think JB Blue's very interesting, and it'd be interesting to see how Master Bond comes back after a long
long absence, having been well supported in quite a hot maiden at Beverley.
Yeah, interesting little heat for the 550, the median auction maiden stakes. Let's go up and join and say a first welcome to Malcolm Tomlinson.
Thank you very much, Tom. Yeah, just Al Doha to go forward, stall 2. That one's walking in now. They're all in. We're set to go. They're off. They race over 6 furlongs. Holy Angel just a little bit slow to go, and Border Revia didn't get the best start, neither did Ella's Tina. Good start by 30. Triumph is away well, so too is Deep Sand, and also Majestic Bounty's prominent, just tucked in behind the pace. Al Doha's got a good sit as well, and also racing prominently JB Blue, just tucked in behind the early leaders. So they travel through the first furlong and a half or so, and Al Doha, the nose-banded runner, out in the centre, orange sleeves, continues to race prominently with the quarter jacket, white sleeves of Deep Sand. Triumph is right up there in the red and grey jacket, and between horses Ella's Tina is also prominent, so too 30 in the red and white colours, and then right down the centre of the course, trying to make up a little bit of ground, is Border Revia. Master Bond towards the extreme right, and the black and yellow is starting to make a forward move as well. They're down towards the final couple of furlongs, and out in the centre it's Deep Sand who's gone on. Triumph is giving chase in second, 30 is next. Master Bond is getting into top gear over on the far side of the course. They're followed through by Border Revia. They're going back towards the final furlong now, and it's Deep Sand in front with Master Bond running on over on the far side. Triumph is back in third place. Inside the final half they go. Deep Sand with a scrap on Master Bond over on the far side, but Deep Sand has done enough, and Deep Sand will win it to Master Bond. Triumph was next. They were followed through by Al Doha, and then back in fourth position behind those racing was fourth.
Well, Paul Morrison, my guest, to put up 3 horses tonight as his fancies at Redcar. Deep Sand was the first of them to go to post, and the first to come back in front. 6-4 favourite. Ears pricked for most of the final furlong. Still, apparently, a lot of improvement to come from him. Nice performance to beat an equally nice performance from the runner-up Master Bond.
Yeah, those two were the ones to take out of this race, and I look back as well for the other horse that's stuck in my head in the paddock, JB Blue. You can just see running on nicely without being knocked about.
Look at this winner though, Paul. Look at his
green
looks.
as grass still. I mean, ears pricked, hit the front. You'd have to say just looked around him. He just was out there, and actually it was only when he came over to the other side and joined the eventual second that he always had this race in command, but it was just concentration wavered at a crucial moment. But he got the job done. He travelled well through the race. Equally, that can be said for Master Bond, who was stuck out a little bit wide. He's got a good posse there. You can see him about second last, tracking the bunch, as you call them. But he switched to the far side and then really moved into the race quite smoothly. But the eventual winner, you can see there in those colours that we know so well, he's always travelled on the pace well. 30 up there for a while, but his run didn't last too long. You see at the moment in this ground with 2-year-olds, you're getting them, all of them, off the bridle. They're all pushing away. But then this horse is just, David Adams just asked him to go about his business. He then gets himself isolated, and he's just looking around, so green. Head sort of goes up in the air, but he's not.
It helped him when the runner-up came up to him. Absolutely. Paul, a little bit of company, really.
I agree entirely. It just made him concentrate more.
A couple of newcomers shaped well, Paul. Triumph in third there, and one of Richard Fye's, Border Revia, in fourth place, shaped really well.
Yeah, ran on really nicely at the end, but James Gibbon will be thrilled with that. There's plenty of stamina in this filly's pedigree, and I'm sure a step up to a mile would suit. 3 Valleys, beautiful pedigree horse, and his horses, his 2-year-olds are just beginning to fire a bit. They were, I think people had mixed feelings about them themselves, but there's certainly, he's a stallion that I'd keep on the right side of 3 Valleys.
Do you expect this horse to hold his own in handicap nursery company, provided he gets a half reasonable mark, Deep Sand?
Well, I think he will, because I think there's so much improvement in him. When you've got horses that win and they're still very green, they can only improve. But he's done nothing wrong in 2 starts. He's still a little bit unfurnished, you'd have to say, but he's going the right way, and that's all you want from a horse. You want them to progress from one run to the next. It probably wasn't one of the greatest contests, but you can only go and win these races, and he's done that, and he's done it through greenness as well. But I also like the look of the second. I think it was a promising run from JB Blue, and also, as you said, from the Richard Farley filly Border Reva, Colt Border Reva. So there's some nice horses here that will be winning races, and I like the winner and I like the second, so positives.
positives, and a rare flat winner, if you like, for Trevor Hemmings. Colours we normally see, obviously, over jumps, leading a National Hunt owner last season, of course, and Timmy Stivet, I'm sure, will be absolutely chuffed with Deep Sand. Expect to see this horse going down the nursery route now, and by the look of his whole body language here, there's plenty of improvement to come. Let's get the SPs.
So there is the winner coming in to the winner's enclosure, Deep Sand, having made that encouraging debut previously at Thirsk, has gone one better. A good-looking horse, I remember from doing Thirsk that day, and he should well build on this. David Allen riding for Timmy Stivet. David Allen, who rode so well over the York Ebor Festival.